All right.
Good morning, everybody. I always say that. I'm so selfish of my own time zone. Good evening. Drop something in the chat. I know there's a ZZZ emoji and there's a palm tree emoji. So where is it nighttime? Somebody might argue that a moon would be a better emoji. Hey, Ken, good morning to you, sir. Hey, Perry, evening for Perry. Hey, Richard. So there's a blue button on the, it's really awkward. There's a blue button on the text box. And if you click on that blue button, it says who you send the message to. And if you click on that, make sure it says to everyone, then, because some good jokes come through, but people can't see them. Hey, Todd. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hey, Kimberly. All right, great stuff. Okay, so wow, Maurizio.
Hey guys. Hey
You
guys.
know,
Yeah.
if we were talking, let's say Wednesday of last week, we'd be having one kind of conversation. If we were talking Friday or Saturday, we're having a
Right.
completely different kind of conversation.
Dude. Yeah, I know. I know.
The crypto.
Welcome to crypto. Yeah, that's what it is, right? Like, it's great. Like, it's a great market. Like, you guys have to either accept it or it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, volatility provides opportunities. So either, uh, you know what I mean? Like, the biggest thing about crypto is having your positions right, your portfolio right, not being so like oversized. Because when you're actually oversized in terms of over leverage, that's when it comes like, you know what I mean? Like the anxiety comes and all that sort of stuff, right? So obviously, you know, being in this market, I've been oversized, I've been over leveraged, I've been in and out. So that's the biggest thing that I've learned over the years. You know what I mean? Like, if you start to manage your spot portfolio right, long term, definitely it's gonna give you the great opportunities. But it's huge drawdowns, huge. That's what crypto is all about. Don't expect that you're gonna get 100x without a 50%, 60% pullback. You know what I mean? Like, think about it from the perspective that people will take profits and all that sort of stuff. So what happened on Friday? Interesting. I was mentioning it, right? Like, I was expecting that this to happen, in terms of the stop losses. We're gonna go into it. If you guys watch my video on Friday or Thursday, but yeah, interesting. Love it, man. Love it. Yeah.
This is it, because where Bitcoin's been moving sideways for a couple of months, it's been shaking people out. And I always find this interesting, especially, hopefully somebody in the audience hasn't thought about it this way before. But you hear people use these kind of sayings and slogans all the time: diamond hands, weak hands, right? And like, when the market does something funky, like it's done right now, this is the time to really make that connection. What does weak hands actually mean? Okay. And when we look at that Bitcoin chart, yes, we were like, yeah, there is a percentage chance that we retest the bottom of the range. There is also a percentage chance that that retest is volatile. Volatile meaning that we dip a little bit deeper. And sure, there is a percentage chance that it goes just bananas and crashes. But that percentage chance of it going bananas and crashes, that's very small compared to the other options of what Bitcoin could do. So you've then got this kind of fundamentals, which I'll keep very, very broad, with the re-releasing, like what the Germans did with their sale of Bitcoin and the Mt. Gox thing. So you've got that coming in.
Mm.
And then we start going out, and then you get fear. And that fear cascades, and those weak hands are the ones that are scared, and those weak hands, they sell to professional Bitcoin traders that have waited and put positions in and put bids in as low as they think that they can possibly get to buy it from the most scared person. So effectively, what you're seeing is you're seeing the money change hands. The people that bought a couple of months ago, right at the top, this is it. Valhalla, they haven't got a clue what they were doing. They just kept buying and kept buying and kept buying. Well, this hasn't happened. You said this was going to go up. What? This is, I'm bored now. Oh, I've lost money. This is what the, sell. And now some people hate crypto.
Mm-hmm.
Some other people are like, mate, you ain't going to believe this. I got 53K Bitcoin at the weekend. 53K. Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then there's other people. So, well, anyway, I'm glad that FinRev carries the heavyweights for me. So, you know, I can just enjoy the 100x. With that said, then, with all that enjoyment and fun of discretionary trading, the man who really has to put the sweat and the grind. Over to you, Maurizio.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been hectic, guys. It's been interesting, right? Because yeah, it's been good. Some good trades, some of them, but we had to actually de-risk. And the fact that I don't know if you guys saw the stuff that happened on Friday, but let's start with it. Because I've been talking about it in terms of, you know, stop losses and, you know, and it's two ways that you can look at crypto. You can look at do very small term trades, like trading, like leverage trading. And Friday was a perfect opportunity to actually do short time trading, longs and shorts, right? You know, like it was a very volatile, but you have to be glued to the screen and actually make that work, right? So if that's your style of trading, that's great. Or you can start like, you know, long-term position, things like that with the spot, what we do with the 100 club and stuff like that. So yeah, let's have a look at what we see. Joshua said, let's look at the current chart. This is real time Friday repeat. What do you mean? All right. Perry was the German thing. Yeah, Germans are selling Bitcoin. So that's the reason why a lot of the market has been going down, because they're selling a lot of the like, I don't know, I'll post something maybe tomorrow about the Mt. Gox and all the sort of stuff, like all the, you know, it's been for a while and now they've been trying to sell Bitcoin in order to actually pay the claims and stuff like that. But then, all right, let's jump into it. So, all right, let's see what I see. All right, let's start with, let me just bring up my chat. Do you guys see my screen now?
You can, yeah.
Oh, sweet. All right, so let's start with Bitcoin, right? So this is we just closed the weekly candle, right? So this candle here, let me just remove all this. We don't need them. This is a daily, like for those ones that follow all the stuff that I do, all the purple stuff is weekly levels. So these levels are important because a lot of traders look at, especially, well, institutional, or that's where the liquidity tends to be. So I was waiting for this candle to close, which is just did in about like 10 minutes ago, to figure out what's the bias of this. So Bitcoin from the weekly perspective, definitely we have a bullish trend. Now we have a retracement. Now from the long-term perspective, let me ask you guys in the chat, do you guys think that this is bullish or this is bearish? Just, yeah, just type whatever you think there. Joshua says bullish. Anyone else? Bearish, range, bullish, bull, bear, bearish. All right, beautiful. So that's welcome to the markets. A lot of people think it's bullish, or I think it's bearish, right? You can definitely argue that this is bullish, and you can definitely argue this is, I wouldn't call it bearish. This is not bearish at all, right? If you think what bearish looks like, this is bearish, right? So And not even, like if you actually do a macro, and this is on a weekly sort of time frame, right? So you do have the bullish run, and look at this, look at the behaviors of Bitcoin from the weekly when you actually zoom out, right? So you do have big pulls, big dumps, big bulls, and what this is actually dumps is actually people taking profit, or people that are actually getting scared, or and that's on those values, and when the market is actually priced on this bottom, since when you actually capitalize on profits, right? However, if you bought here, right, you're gonna, like, let's say you bought on November 2021 at this price, right? So you were profitable the last couple of weeks, but now you're not, right? So here you go again. That's another crypto downfall. However, people that actually bought around here, they, you wouldn't worry, right? You wouldn't worry. However, timing these things are very, very hard, right? Or people that bought here, they might be okay, or people that bought here, right? The people that bought here or bought here, maybe is the ones that are actually feeling it, right? And one of the things right now is now that we have the ETFs, right? So ETF inflows. So a lot of banks are actually not, they don't sort of, this is the first time that actually these guys are feeling the volatility. So you can actually see inflows going out at, like, being very volatile in terms of money managers, right? Hedge funds and things like that, taking money in and out. Why? Because that's volatility is all about. So with that being said, this looks pretty bullish to me still, right? This is the, like, we are down on the 5,500 range sort of deal. If we drop this down to the daily, and I was talking about it last week, okay, in terms of big levels that we need to take into account. So this was on Monday last week. So on Monday, these levels were holding pretty cool, right? But we were saying that more than likely when you have these dumps is a lot of stop losses being taken. So imagine that you actually place a trade here, or actually you go on leverage here. The most sensible place to place your stop loss is actually around here, or like below the lows, or below here. So these are sensible spots, right, for market reversals, or for market to just go down in cascade mode sort of deal. And the reason why is, and you don't know what's going to happen. That's the thing. And this is what a market will do, right? Like, you don't know if that's going to continue to go down, or you don't know if that's going to be the pivotal point in where the market is going to reverse, which it happened here, right? It happened probably around, and this is just, we're starting to have to see the first volatility aspect after the all-time highs, which was actually on March 20, on March. So what I'm saying is that if you look at the markets on the daily, from the daily perspective, right? These areas here are very, very sensitive, right? And a lot of market makers, or a lot of liquidity makers, they're looking onto those areas to actually either take liquidity out, or put in liquidity in, and take a lot of the stop losses out, or, and liquidations as well, right? A lot of people that go heavy on leverage, right? They might get liquidated around those levels, right? Because they might calculate, that this is the bottom and things and that. And so when you have these huge spikes right here, right? Like, you could actually capitalize on small time frame sort of opportunities to actually go long, and I will do those on leverage definitely. But I will, these areas are very, very, very sensitive. Why? Because when the market hits those levels, right? And I'm gonna demonstrate this on small sort of time frames. Then either you have enough market makers, or enough liquidity, of enough buyers to actually bump the price up, or you don't have enough there. Therefore, it's going to take all this, the stop loss in cascade mode. So you're gonna take these ones, and then you're gonna follow with these ones, and then if you keep going down, right? Then what I was telling you guys on Friday is that we had this actually was on Thursday, right? This candle was on Thursday. So on Friday morning, right, I was talking about it like it's very, very weak. And the highly likelihood of taking these stop losses around here, there's no other support, immediate support that people will say, oh, I'm going to buy this time. I'm going to buy this place until these levels or even 49, right? So that was the main reason we're starting de-risking of stuff that we're not really confident. Like, you know what I mean? In terms of a bull run, a lot of these tokens are going to be really good in terms of strong projects, strong sort of holdings, things that you're going to hold for a while. But some of all the stuff you know what I mean? All the projects that it definitely is going to go up, but you just don't want to hold because you don't know how it's going to react on this type of movement. So those are the projects that I don't want to hold on these levels. So that's the first thing to realize in terms of these markets when it hits these levels. And as you can see, it took all these stops right here, right? So we had this huge candle here on Friday. It was on Friday, and yeah, we started risking and close on positions, but then it came back really hard, right? It really hard at these levels. Now we are on indecision mode, right? Because it's either going to fill this gap, and I think we have a likelihood that we will, right? And even same thing will happen, right? Either you take some stop losses around this here, and then if you don't have enough buying power around that, then it might not sort of come back, or you're gonna have a lot of volatility around these levels. Okay, so that's kind of the things that I see in terms of Bitcoin and why we start de-risking. And you do have to make those calls at some point because there is a potential that we can go lower. And if we go lower, right, what's the next level? I think around the 52, but the 52, as you can see, is the daily around this level around here that happened on February. So we have that range to fill. So, but then the next one will be around the 48,000 sort of view. All right, is that a huge problem? I don't think so. If you think about it on a Bitcoin long term perspective, I think it's a good opportunity to actually capitalize on and start buying. Obviously, if you do this on leverage, it's very, very risky because you could get either stopped out or you can actually just get liquidated, right? And if you liquidate it, you're pretty much out of the game, right? You will not have more money. So any leverage positions that I do, I usually don't ride it that much, that long, unless they are protected by a stop loss or things like that. So yeah, this is the first thing that I've seen in terms of Bitcoin going on at the moment, right? So it's an interesting pattern, but if we look at it from monthly perspective, right? Obviously, now if we're looking from the monthly, we're resting right here on these levels. Now, how this candle is going to close, no idea. This candle will close on the 1st of August. Yep. Oh, Jesus, we're already in July. All right, so this candle could come back. Yes, definitely. Like look at this candle. Like if you look at half of the month was actually here, and then now this candle actually closed up here, right? So can this candle turn back? Definitely. Can this candle continue go down? Definitely. But the fact that we do have now a retracement, okay, it is interesting. Now, something that I want to show you is, oh, by the way, FinRev is doing fantastic. We do have, what is it? All right, so this is, you can actually get this from CoinGlass, and historically, that doesn't mean that this is going to happen, that it's going to keep going. But if you look at what happened historically on Bitcoin quarterly returns, right? So in Australia, quarters are actually different, but this is sort of like the US economy. So quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. So quarter two, quarter one is from January to January, February, March. Well, you get the idea, right? 3 months, every 3 months, starting from January. So when you have a look at what happened in 2024, so every third quarter is sort of negative, right? And the interesting thing is July and August usually come as a good positive outcome, historically speaking. So if you go back here on Bitcoin monthly returns, and this is on every year, right? 2023, 2022, 2021. So if you look at July, June, right? Usually you get really red days, red months, but then July comes really positive, right? And usually quarter four, right, is the one that actually provides most of the gains. Have a look at this, for instance, 2015, 160 is 68, 56. So this is kind of what we're looking for in terms of the bull run. So this quarter, from that perspective, is the quarter to actually start getting position. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking at from that perspective. So if you look at Bitcoin historically, this is not something that is out of the blue. I don't think the crypto is over. It's a lot of development going on. This week is going to be volatile. Why? We have so for this week, we do have the ETF inflows. Finally, it's going to be Ethereum ETFs now going public, so people will be able to buy for real. That's going to give us a lot of insights of what's going to happen with Ethereum. And if that comes along with, let's have a look at Ethereum. If that comes good, then obviously that will provide a really, really good supporting thesis for Ethereum. But Ethereum this is Ethereum from the monthly perspective, right? So obviously we're very much on this support. So let's have a look on the weekly. All right. So from the weekly perspective, right? Now we sort of testing these lows, right? We testing here. Will this hold? Quick question. Do you guys, what do you think? Will Ethereum hold these levels? Yes or no? Just tell me what you think and why. I'm just wondering. Yeah, I just want to hear your thoughts. So John says yes. Perry, no idea. Tamara said yes. Yes. No. More downward. All right. So yes, because I'm talking about to launch. All right. Looks bearish. This looks very similar to Bitcoin, by the way, right? In terms of long-term, so longer-term perspective is, in my mind, is still bullish. It hasn't shifted bearish yet. Why? Because you have a healthy retracement here, and this is usually what happens. So think about it from the psychology perspective. If you bought around here, and then you get you get around these levels, you get a retracement, and then you had a second sort of retracement. And then people say, oh, okay, I might just take some off the table right here now that we hit this level again. And now we're in the second retracement sort of thing. So now this is the place that we become sort of interesting, right? Because it either holds or either goes down. Simple as that. However, we do have some fundamentals that it will support the thesis of this holding. But I'm still conscious, right? Because obviously you have to be mindful in terms of why this price should hold. So the good thing about it is now that we have the ETFs, right? So if the ETFs, we have momentum on the ETFs, definitely this will be the local bottom. Definitely we could actually see that this is the new price of Ethereum. That's the lowest price that it could go. And then if that holds, definitely expect that we're going to break new highs, and that's going to be the full potential of Ethereum, right? That's definitely on the cards. I'm highly biased towards that theory, right? And the reason why is, there's going to be some type of inflows into Ethereum, definitely. How big? I have no idea, right? It's a lot of things. It's a lot of people talking about like it's going to be huge. Some people saying it's going to be very, very low inflows, but from that perspective, I'm seeing inflows, right? We're going to see inflows. Now, is that going to be enough to actually hold these levels? We're going to have to come and see. I have to wait and what happens, right? Another thing that's going on this week is the CPI data, right? And that tends to determine a lot of like forecast for interest cuts and things like that for the next couple months. So that's going to be huge. I think it's on Thursday or Friday I'm not entirely sure, but it's going to happen this week. So it's still very volatile, but that could come back positively. That news can come back positive or negative, and if you add sort of the catalyst that all the stuff that is happening, like, and on top of that, you get all the stuff that's going on with the election, right? So you have all these things that it will sort of affect the markets, right? In terms of the S&P 500, the S&P 500 has been hugely positive, right? So this is an interesting aspect of what's going on with the S&P 500. So it's been really, really, really good. And the correlation factor, like this is going up and Bitcoin going down. So it's one of those things to be aware that this market, look at this market in terms of on a daily, and I'm talking about, yeah, so all-time highs. It's been on all-time highs for the last 3 days. So we might have a little bit of pullbacks or take profits on these ones, and that will definitely affect Bitcoins a little bit. Okay, so we might have to consider that we could retest these lows as well. Okay, so with that being said, let me have a look at the open interests, because on Friday, let me just bring it up on 1 hour, and tell what happened on Friday. So that was on the 4th. That was on the 5th of July. Okay, around the open. Okay, so on Friday we decided to actually start de-risking, and the reason why is because you can actually see on this candle that happened 8:30, so roughly around market open on Friday, and I can see that the open interest start sort of going down, right? So what that means is you get now people closing positions. Therefore, there's a highly likelihood that you can continue, and if that happens around these levels, there's a high likelihood that it could come down until which level you don't know. When you get these things down, some of the more weak coins are going to suffer the most. So that was the main reason. Now, what I'm going to show you is what I'm looking to get position on, because I think it looks pretty solid from here. Bear in mind that we can have a lot of wiggles. So I'm going to start sort of DCAing. So if you do not know the concept of DCAing, is that like if you understand from the portfolio, your risk management, what's your sizing, right? And it's very important. I know in the group some people go through their welcome post and things like that, and if you do have like $1,000, $2,000, whatever you want to invest, you want to divide it into chunks, into position sizing, and you decide how many, 10, 20. We have like 40 because obviously we cater a lot of people. We're doing a lot of positions. You can do 40 as well. The more diversification, the higher, the less volatile your portfolio is going to be. But the smaller diversification, your portfolio might be more sort of volatile, right? So think about it from the perspective that you have $1,000 and you divide it into 20, right? So essentially, So you divide it into 10, so you have $100 per trade or per coin, right? And that's your sizing. And every time that we call in a trade, then that's the size that you should use. No more, no less, right? Because we're going to be using more. Or if you use half size, it's going to be $50. Or if you use a quarter, will be $25, and then and so forth, right? So this is the time that I will be sort of adding quarter, right? Because I want to start DCAing on projects that we might, we do have some data and research that it might just sort of give us a really, really good opportunities, right? But we cannot actually measure volatility, right? We cannot actually measure that we're gonna start going down, things like that. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for this week. So let me show you. Let's have a look at the open interest on Ethereum. So Ethereum from that perspective looks pretty weak, but now it's sort of bottoming here. Obviously, it's just bottoming on an hourly sort of chart, so this could shift very rapidly to either direction. And if we go to the 4 hours, so what I want to see is that definitely we're going to bottom here. I want to see the open interest start increasing, and then maybe have a pullback, and then that level to hold, right? So that level is very, very important, because then you know that that's the new liquidity range, okay? And if you are able to get position around there, that's when the leverage trading will come, right? Are we ready to do leverage trading? No, not at all, right? It's going to be very volatile in this week, I believe. So from the Ethereum perspective, as you can see where we're at, if you have a look at this influx of huge liquidity that actually happened on May, we are below that at the moment. So if I draw a line right there, right? So we are below that level, okay? So now all that liquidity that was sort of on this range is now out, okay? So either we're going to have new liquidity coming in, because people that were here were either took profits around here or actually got stopped out in terms of leverage, or people that actually went here, and now it's shifting, right? So this is very like that's the way I see it. Obviously, it's very delicate in this week, because we could have another revisit down. If that happens, then we have a look at Ethereum. So if that happens, right? So if that happens, so if we break these lows, which, let me just move this one down, because now we retested it, and if you can actually see, this one and this one was actually very, very good areas to actually get positioned. If you know what I mean, like if you are doing leverage stuff like that, it's very risky. You need to manage your stop losses and everything, but those areas are really tentative to actually get positioned from big time perspective. So Ethereum, return 8% sort of in the next retrace from the bottom, roughly 8%. So now still holding at 3% up from those lows. So so if you look at these levels from even shorter time frames, right? Let's go 5 minutes and look what happens on 5 minutes, and this is kind of the very juicy thing to trade, right? Like if you trade on leverage, this will be a beautiful trade. So first of all, yeah, I think we might talk about it in the leverage tab. I'll give you some free stuff here. So have a look at these candles, 5 minutes, bang, all the way down, took everybody out. You can actually see why, and I'll show you on Velo data. And then another one here, took a lot of people out, but get it all holding. And now you start getting a liquidity squeeze right here. And then, why this level? Because this level, from a higher time frame perspective, is very likely to hold. It's like this one broke completely, right? So very, very small time frame opportunities, but this could become the next local bottom, right? So that's where we are in terms of Ethereum. But if you look at these levels on Velo data on smaller time frames, look at these liquidations here. So that's when you go and start thinking getting position on the bigger liquidation sort of events, which happen right here, right? So right here happened. People start buying. Why? Because you actually see the open interest right here, so you can actually place a trade. Small time frame stuff, like don't expect to, go like the good thing about leverage sometimes that if you manage your leverage correctly, these levels will hold long term, but then don't think about long term when you're doing the small time frames things, right? Just think about really small stuff like this one here, right here, another liquidation event right here. However, this one is not that big. And just now we have another liquidation right here, another big liquidation aggregation here. So very interesting levels to actually play with long and short positions, things like that. So, all right. So in terms of long-term stuff, what I'm looking at, let's go through our positions quickly, right? And see what we're doing from the weekly perspective. So, Fimex going fantastic. Pendle, I wouldn't mind adding into Pendle, to be honest. So Pendle looks pretty similar as Ethereum. And obviously, if you know what Pendle is, obviously it's very attached to Ethereum in terms of all the staking and that it's doing. And so still holding that one. Solana looks pretty strong. Look at this from the weekly perspective. It hasn't been able to break this. So Solana could be the local bottom vote for Solana again. Like you can actually see for how many weeks, and this one not even touched this one low. So Solana is in my books for adding a little bit more. INJ. So INJ, we are right there. Like he tried to break this low, but actually close below this one. So I'm still holding this one. Phoenix looking pretty good. Like it hasn't even touched this low, so it's quite strong from the retracement perspective. BNB got a good hit. BNB got a good hit, but still very, very bullish. So this is the first retracement that BNB actually had. Still looking to add more a little bit on BNB. It has good potential, but now we'll see how this one actually comes down, because now is the first time that this one actually broke this level. So it's not the strongest coin any longer. So yeah, it's gonna be better, might be better opportunities because we position well here, and that's why we're holding. But still looks good. Phil is the one that I'm still very, very. Yeah, I'm looking a little bit more research on this one in terms of inflows, but it's holding on the like lowest lows here. So I might add more in this one. Celo, it's not doing much or up and down. So, but we do have good potential on this one. Nia, I think Nia could be a really good buy around these levels. This one could, it's in terms of if you look at what happened on the retracement on April, right? This one is still holding pretty good in terms of the weeklies. So this one could be a really good position. W, I might enter the other 50% of my position around here. So like I said a while back, then this is stuff that we, on volatility, adding more, especially on projects that you might think it will give you a really good average price. You can DCA to the way up, but you can either DCA to the way in. The problem with DCA in the way in is that you don't know when things are going to stop in a way, right? And this is got brand new coins. This is airdrops. But usually what happens with these ones when market turns around is more than likely they will revisit highs and it will price discovery. Obviously, everything took a dive right last week, so I'm still assessing that one. Ton is holding pretty well. Not even close to this low. So yeah, holding pretty well. Pepe is just a little bit below our entry. Oh no, sorry. Our entry is right here. So Pepe is, So any Ethereum weakness, this one is gonna go down quite a bit, right? Why? Because this is an Ethereum beta. So on Ethereum recovering from, like, if we have good inflows from the ETF, this one is gonna go nuts. So I'm still holding from that perspective. So definitely I wouldn't mind adding more on this one, but it doesn't look great from the weekly perspective, right? If I look at this from the, yeah, we'll see in the next couple of days if these levels hold, because this could be like a bottom. We have AVAX. Yeah, AVAX holding pretty good. Like now you can actually see close above this low, so you can start feeling where the where the bottoms are from this one. So once you feel it, then we can add more or actually go a little bit higher in terms of our position size, right? So token, yeah, we have these lows right here. Might add some more in that. Foxy, close below these ones, below these, but still I like this project a lot. So Foxy might become really good. Woo, a lovely woo. It's not a bad place to actually enter, to be honest. Like, and this is the thing in terms of crypto, you don't know when the retracement will happen. You don't know when the bull run will come in strong, right? So as long as you have position and start managing well, don't go too big, too quick. Just always have it in mind, in the back of your mind, that you're going to have retracements. Ondo is looking pretty good, yeah. However, huge retracement. So I think now people are taking profits. So this could be a really interesting level to watch in terms of Ondo. But Ondo is going, in terms of RWAs, is going to be the strongest thing. So if you're not an Ondo, maybe you can start adding small positions from here, right? And if it goes down a little bit, it's actually better, right? But Ondo is one of the strongest contenders in terms of INA. INA is not doing great. So I'm still holding, by the way. I'm still holding on those. But INA, it is. Someone asked about the airdrops on INA. So, okay. So INA definitely we have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, right? If because I was looking at it this morning and let's see. Where is it? Where is it? All right, I'll probably do a. Here. The dashboard right here. Okay, so in terms of what's going on with INA, right? So obviously the staking has dramatically dropped, right? Now the staking API is around 2%. So if you're staking any INA, and on top of that, so it's not attractive at all. What I'm paying close attention is the historical staking by entity. So now we having a little bit of influx right here. So we might add more in terms of, this is what people are looking for. Airdrops hasn't, like the second stage of airdrops hasn't actually paid out. You can actually have a look in here, sats, and still an epoch number 2, and you still have 60 days until this finishes, right? We'll start doing any airdrops at the moment with INA. I think it's already, people are waiting into it. So there is a highly likelihood that INA is going to be long-term a good project. So I wouldn't mind adding more, to be honest. But just the fact that it hasn't been able to come back up, I'll just wait with that. But if it is your first position, right? If it is your first position on INA, this is not a bad place to actually get position at all, right? In terms of this one, it's going to be a lot of airdrops. It's going to be a lot of different things. They're launching the new blockchain. So from that perspective, I think it's good. Now, my favorite is actually So so we enter around here. So has been holding pretty well from this range. And I think this could be the next Ondo in terms of potential upside. Like when in the RWA space, I think this could be a really good one. So it's holding pretty well. Like it is holding pretty well from everything that happened over the weekend, like on over the weekend. Yeah, pretty much over the weekend. No, pretty much last week, and it's actually holding pretty well. So I wouldn't mind adding into this one a little bit more. So it's going well, and Jupe, we have Jupe. Jupe is holding right there. Obviously, this is going to be very, very close to Solana, but still good. Mark is doing, I think he's doing great. Even though we had a good retracement, he's actually holding pretty well around this high. So Mark is doing great. Obviously, Mark is going to be very volatile. You're going to see it go up 30%, go down 50, things like that. So I wouldn't do this on leverage at all. And the one that I really like is SRO. So SRO, we actually enter last week. He held back pretty good. So I'm happy with this one. So I might add more on that one. So in terms of all the new things that I'm watching, so Ondo definitely in Pendle Con. So I'm still looking to get an entry on TRX. TRX is behaving really strong for the last couple of weeks, which is quite interesting. So still not sold on this one, but TRX could definitely be. Arkham, very good place to get position on this one. So this project is pretty good. If you don't know what it is, go and have a look what it is. So I might start DCAing. This is sort of my levels to be watched, but I think I'm gonna wait until see what happens on the CPA, but I might add some stuff prior because if it becomes positive, right? It becomes positive, then you can actually potentialize. You can actually potentialize your entry from there. So let me just change this for weekly level. Okay. There you go. So CAS definitely. CAS has been holding. Look at this. Look at the way that this chart is looking upwards, right? Definitely has a lot of potential to the upside. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the technology aspect of it. I've been wanted to get into around these levels, but I think that's the best thing. So I'm gonna start looking into getting into this one probably this week. Yeah, this one looks pretty good. RNDR, obviously, RNDR. We're not in RNDR yet, which I think we should. So that's why this, but it's getting a lot of like AI is not getting a lot of traction at the moment, right? So I think the way that might play it out is because all the actions on memes. Let me have a look where the action is at today. Where is the action? All right, where is the action? Let's have a look. Okay, so sector performance. So we have which is pretty much the best one. So as you can see, everything took a dump, and now nothing is performing. Only L1s and these two. So I'll be waiting to see what's going on with this one. This is a longer time frame. If we have a look at this of the monthly, I can definitely see that, yeah, that's the fact. So these two are the most stronger sectors at the moment. What I think is going to happen is there's a highly likelihood that gaming will start gaining a lot of momentum, and meme stuff is just holding pretty well, like Retario and all those like meme things are just holding like crazy, which is interesting, right? And then from the price changing perspective, the strongest things are, I've been looking at this one since Friday. Why? Because if you guys saw my videos on Friday, or like this one is been holding and performing pretty good. And as you can see, OM is actually here as well, ZRO and BNX. BNX is highly volatile, but this one is sort of raised my attention, so I put it in here. So, but what I'm seeing is that it's a lot of selling momentum here. And if you look at the open interests, kind of. Yeah, so when this is 5 minutes. just make it up about 4 hours, like bigger time frame sort of deal. So have a look at this. All right. This is very commonly for market makers to actually try to pump this thing. Now, the problem is if no one steps in here, this thing is going to just die. It's as simple as that. Sometimes market makers just make it pump and this thing just takes off. But the thing though is the market at the moment, nothing's taking off. So that's what I'm concerned going into this one. It's like it's not like you know, I don't know much about the projects. I'm only looking into from the price action perspective and what the open interests are telling me. Started shifting funding rate negative around here, but now it's still now it's shifting again and positive. So doesn't that's kind of what I was seeing in this one. But from longer term perspective projects, I'm looking at Blast. So Blast, it is brand new. It's not in a lot of exchanges. I do have some data to suggest that this will be a pretty attractive, at least going back to these highs. So it's brand new, and the things with brand new, they could be really risky in terms of market cap. They're very low liquidity and they're very easy to manipulate and things like that. But if we look at this one from the daily perspective, because we don't have any more data, right? We don't have data at all in terms of Blast. Like the only price action that you will see is a couple of days over, and you only see it on KuCoin at this stage, right? You can actually go on chain and have a look. But yeah, this one I might start DCAing. So if you see a trade alert on this one, guys, bear in mind I might start just doing 25%, 25%, 25%. I wouldn't go crazy at these levels, especially with the volatility, but it's not a bad place to get positioned. You know what I mean? And with that being said, I think gaming coins is going to be very attractive with what happened with Sony buying an exchange. Like Sony now is going to become a crypto exchange. Think about it from that perspective, what positive news that's from the crypto market, right? So Sony, leader gaming company, and now has an exchange. So I think there is a lot of opportunity in the gaming sector. And with that being said, I'm looking at this Naka Games, and I'm looking at some gaming stuff that can start getting positioned, because this is the time that you actually go and do the research and figure out which ones. In terms of AI, Tao, believe it or not, they had an attack, a hacking network attack or something like that, and now they have contained it. So I'll share the research on the group. So this one, from the technology perspective, is attractive. Bear in mind that it could be really, really volatile. But when this one comes back, when liquidity comes back on this one, in terms of project, I think this could be a really good one in terms of AI. So AI, I'm looking at Renda, Tao, and it's still following all the influx, like all the, what Fed Ocean is doing, like the merge of those companies. So yeah, a lot of things to watch over so because these are the areas to actually start buying. Okay, definitely. I'm still buying on things. So yeah, that's kind of my take for the week, guys. So I don't know if you guys have any questions or.
That was superb, Maurizio. Thank you so much. I was having some great back and forth with some FinRev stuff in the chat, so we won't really talk about FinRev too much today. Maurizio, forgive me if I missed it. Did you cover ENA?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit on ENA.
Yeah. There was a few questions in the group about ENA. Now, when you were discussing it, did you talk about the it's the yield farming with ENA, isn't it? Is it yield farming that gives some crazy kickback? And what I'm trying to say is that ENA is more than just the price action. Like, it does have a mechanism behind it. And I can't remember which call, but I think Scott described it as like the perfect Ponzi scheme. So I know Scott is aggressively bullish with ENA, and he's bullish from the point of view of he believes that the business model, which is to try and become a new player in the stable coin market with the USD, is it USDE?
USD, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that they can really punch their way in there because of the mechanics that they've got in the background, but ultimately it's not a sustainable business. But for like a sort of, an absolute take off to the moon kind of business, this is one that that Scott is still, I think, I shouldn't really speak on his behalf. I believe he's still pretty bullish on this.
Yeah, me too, Ian. And someone asked the question, since the first buy to open, are we still holding? Yes, I am. And that's exactly where I am in terms of ENA. Let me show you. However, I have to.
He's in a spot as well, so you're not in any way affected by the leverage here. You're not going to get stopped.
No,
You just
and
hold your nose.
and I did mention that I'm staking in as well. Okay, so obviously from that perspective, we did sort of mention how to go about and stake. A friend of mine actually put a really good video in terms a while back in terms of how to do the staking, and obviously that that helps because the sport sort of, when you actually buy in a sport, you're holding an asset, right? And you like it's a different mindset on trading and what you can do with that asset. So there is a lot of things that when you buy spot and then you can stake and then you get rewards, and then even though the price is going down, you're going to get some staking yield out of it. So yeah, that's kind of the whole aspect of ENA, why we're still holding. Why? Because I don't plan to get out of it, to be honest. I'm planning to actually add a little bit more around here. So I'm still bullish. And if I add a little bit more around here, I do get a good average price. So that's kind of where we are in terms of ENA this stage.
That is awesome. I was just looking at Retardio. That thing is just magnificent. I know there's a lot of people in the group that are just farming that Retardio and just building their bags up more and more. They're simply selling at the new all-time highs. They're being patient. They're waiting for it to drop again. They're buying their bag. It's pumping up again. So, but the more that you zoom out on the chart, like if you go to the weekly chart, it looks pretty nice. It's
oh, Retardio looks amazing, man. Like, look at this
yeah.
thing, man. And obviously on every single sort of drop, it's been an opportunity for people to buy. Like that's the kind of thing that you want to see. Would I buy it now? I wouldn't. I don't know. Like think about it from the risk reward ratio, right? So obviously we bought it around here. So your risk reward ratio is that you have a high amount, like a high return, and then your downside is limited in a way if this goes to zero. But now the higher it goes, the more risk you will take in a way, right? Because imagine people that bought here, they are already up as of today 600%. Okay, so that's a different mindset. That if you buy, for instance, if you bought yesterday, if you bought yesterday, you are in a loss, right? So that's kind of the things about Retarded is going fantastic. Really, there's gonna be more meme coin guys. So obviously, don't think that Retarded is the only possibility. But if you want to get in, probably do half of your regular size regularly, and then that's it. You're in, and then you're happy, and then your risk tolerance is going to be a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of the thinking. So
yeah, that's nice. All right, great. So we've been at it an hour then. So I'm really excited for week 2 of the 6-week leverage bootcamp that's happening on Wednesday. So last week was the first session, and yeah, there was some really amazing stuff on leverage and the way to use leverage and exchanges and the deep dives. And that's the kind of toolbox that, when practiced, takes people from shit, I've blown up again, shit, I've blown up again, shit, I've blown up again, to, okay, then. So if I do actually do a little bit of this risk management and I actually write a few things down and I follow a few steps, then I don't blow up. I constantly know how, and I'm really excited for that, because myself and Maurizio, we teach that this is what you do. Now, there is what Scott does, and why Scott can say to his wife, I'm going to buy you a new home and I'm going to do it on leverage with this, bing bang, because Scott has got vast sums of money that he can bring in and he can take these bets. And ultimately, that's where he wants people to be. Because, you know, if you're running a FinRev degen account, you're taking money from that, or you've made money from trades, and you know when it's leverage season and you know exactly what you're doing, you've plenty of cash to refill that bag, then boom, you can take those crazy bets and just buy houses straight away, you know, if all the stars line up exactly. And that's why that leverage is a toolbox, and it's very much a seasonal thing, because you want everything going, you know, absolutely in your favor. There is, of course, plenty of levels below Scott. So yeah, the first week, that was really good to get into the exchanges, get the understanding of leverage going. And this week it's price action. And it is just perfect timing of the market that we've had this dip, because you think about what Scott and what Maurizio do when they're showing these 100x Coin Club picks. They're looking at spaghetti charts. What's a spaghetti chart, Ian? And how do I make one? Look in the welcome post. It's all explained to you exactly there with videos. All right, I've got those spaghetti charts set up. Now what do? Now you're looking for a certain price action. So after a crash like this, there's a very specific price action that's in my head, that if I'm looking for trades on the Dow, oh, I think this one might be the pick of the bunch for what's happened right now. Okay. This, and Scott has shown this repeatedly in these 100x calls, if you know what I mean. But what we're going to do in the leverage course is, you know, is we're going to dive in and we're going to chat about them, and we're going to show ways that you can practice them. And I know that that's not sexy. I know that is not sexy, that you have to open up a second browser and you have to have the price action there, and you have to have TradingView there, and you have to go, right, here we go. Bar by bar by bar. There's one. There's one. And then as soon as you can put a square into a square and a circle into a circle, then all of a sudden, you know where to look for a coin, spaghetti charts. Then you know how to look for price action on a coin. Then you know the safe way to use the leverage. All of a sudden, during certain seasons, you can just print money absolutely non-stop. So that's the leverage course. I would say that this really is the absolute last chance to join. Like, it is closed, like it's fully closed. But if you wanted in, I would say this is the absolute last chance that you've got, would be this Wednesday, because if you already understand the basics of leverage, you could skip straight to the price action. If you needed that refresher, you could certainly get it in the week's video that's gone. But the opportunity will be gone then after Wednesday for this live round. So nice. Well, I am going to make sure that I've done my homework to what Coach Maurizio said. Everybody on the leverage course, turn up, having done this, and this. Then we shall proceed.
There you go, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna have a blast, because now this is the time in to like give you practice, and it's not all like, it's a skill at the end of the day, and crypto moves on cycles, and you know, like you could actually use leverage to buy, and you can actually use leverage to sell when you actually understand how to do it perfectly. Okay, so and crypto will provide those times when everything is at the bull and you start doing some shorts, or when you're actually buying and getting momentum for the bull run. So it's just understanding that. Are we going to be wrong sometimes? Of course we will. That's why money management and portfolio management is so important. But then, yeah, I'm very excited to go through this all the stuff that we have planned for this week. Definitely.
Yeah, totally, man, totally. And it all fits nicely into just this more and more tools that you've got that you can use in different markets under different market conditions. And this is what they're doing with FinRev. Like when Scott talks through all of the enhancements that are coming in, you know, it's simply you have James who's like, right, okay, this is a certain market condition, and here are the mathematics behind this market condition. And then you have the development team that write the Python code, and then something beautiful is made in between. Well, we're doing a human version of that. And yeah, it's really great. Ian, what does a white shirt mean? Well, it's just I don't know. Maybe it's a surgical gown to deal with what I thought was going to be the bloodbath of tears of this Bitcoin. You know, I thought I was going to have to be mopping up blood in the streets. Ian, I was 29x leverage and I've blown my account up. Like, I mean, what do you want me to say? You know?
And guys, there's some coins that you don't need leverage for. Like, to be honest, like, you know, the leverage is an interesting thing, but it's very sexy to you know, the exchange is always provided the leverage, and very simple to actually put something on leverage, and then you get really good gains. But if you don't know how to manage it, yeah, I burn accounts. I have, like everybody has, like every good trader that I know has gone through the pain on using leverage, and you know, so it's going to be a lot of psychological factors on the leverage things, man. Yeah.
Happy, man, you know. So it's like I got this long-term FinRev account up here that just runs. It's at 50% volatility, and I barely check it. Is it still working? Yeah, it's checking. Lovely. Then I've got a degen account that I run at 100%. And then that degen account allows me to do fun things like this leverage trading. I've got other coins in the 100x that publicly people know that I've been holding and farming for a long time, things such as Woo. You know what I mean? So I've got a little cluster of coins that, like in the 100x club, I expect over the medium term to really appreciate. So I'm telling you this because I want people to start to see how all these different pieces and these skills can all fit in together. And it really is just a case of being here, which people are, and just being open to learning and just being patient. And then we're going to have a hell of a bull run.
Definitely.
Right. Well, that's enough yabbering. Nice one, everyone.
All right,
Cheerio.
guys. Have a great day. Okay.